This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now today's video comes in response to this email that I received a few days ago.
Hi John, hope you don't mind me asking. Been thinking about doing some guitar lessons locally after lockdown as a second income. Do you have any tips for aspiring tutors? Cheers, Stu.
Well, of course, I'm more than happy to help. So what I thought I would do is, today I'll give you 5 tips for aspiring guitar tutors. These are things that I've learned through trial and error over the past, dearie me, 30 years that I've been doing this for a living. So let's get cracking with...
Group tuition.
Yep, group tuition. Put simply, it doesn't work. I've done group tuition situations before because there was a healthy paycheck involved with it. But in terms of getting results, getting people able to play the guitar, it's just not worth the candle, really. Usually in any group of, say, 15 students, and it's usually going to be kids that you're doing group tuition with, there'll be 5 who really want to be there because they're desperate to play the guitar. Then there'll be another 5 who are there because some of them will be the younger siblings of the ones that really want to be there, and they don't want to feel left out, and they want to come along and just have a go, and they get bored pretty quickly, and they become sort of fidgety and disruptive, and you've got to deal with that and try and keep them involved. It becomes a bit like herding cats. And then the other 5 are just there because I don't know why they wanted it. Maybe it's easier. Maybe they thought it was going to be easier than it is. But, the 5 people who really are hungry for it end up, kind of getting distracted because the ones who are bored are kind of flicking, bits of paper at them or elastic bands or stuff like that. It seldom works, positively, I find. Also, I've taught people one-to-one who've been to group tuition situations in the past, and there's a lot of bad habits they inevitably have because as one tutor in front of a class of maybe 15 or so students, if somebody's strumming technique is, not particularly good, or they're making getting into a bad habit or something like that, when the class is playing together, it's easy for that to kind of get hidden in the crowd, as it were. You're much, much better off doing one-to-one tuition. You get better results doing it that way, and you get a better reputation amongst, potential future customers as the guy who can get you playing well quickly. So that's my thoughts on group tuition. Next.
Second nature stuff.
Yes, now this is something that I can speak from very, very close personal experience. When I first started teaching the guitar in 1991, there were so many things that I just thought were obvious. How to do a chord change, how to strum, how to do this, how to do that. You don't think about them because they're just part and parcel of how you play the guitar, and you just do it without thinking. And the mistake is to kind of then assume that the student will be able to do it without thinking. I did a video years ago, which was entitled "How to Strum Any Song," and there were a lot of comments below that video where it was like, well, you just look at the chords for the song and strum them in the rhythm for the song. Simple, job done. And there speaks the voice of someone who's never had to teach a beginner how to strum. It's, just everything from how tightly you hold the plectrum, strumming from the elbow rather than the wrist, how to feel the beat. What I'll often do is I'll have to tell the student to put the guitar down and just tap on their knee or the tabletop like that. Try and find the 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's a very, very, very tiny minority of people who can't do that. Most people have some innate sense of rhythm. And then once you've kind of established that, you say, okay, now do that with your plectrum across the strings in time with the music. And then you begin to build on that. But it still takes a degree of conscious thought and concentration for many people when they're first beginning. And there are so many other things like that you you forget as an experienced player that you had to learn how to do all of this stuff, either by practicing it or by trial and error or just, experimentation. But, what is second nature to you will not be second nature to the student. So never be scared to go into just that little bit extra detail on how to do even the most obvious basic things. Next.
Be adaptable.
Yes, you have to be adaptable. There is something to be said for having a set syllabus that you teach, especially if you are going to be teaching, an accredited course that leads to exams and, kind of grades and stuff like that. But as I said, I've been doing this 30 years, and I can probably count on the fingers of one hand the number of times I've been asked to teach, a graded syllabus exam kind of thing. Most people who are playing the guitar are doing it as a hobby, and it's a way of relaxation and it's a way of chilling out. Even if they are, kind of semi-pros playing in bands, it's still something that they want it to feel fun, and they want it to feel like a hobby. And the only test that most people want to pass is, can I play this song? Can I play that solo in front of an audience? That's what you've got to do. So, you don't want to be the guitar teacher who's trying to teach jazz chords and 2-5-1 and tritone substitutions to the kid who wants to learn to play a Metallica song or a Green Day song or something like that. You have to be able to adapt what you're teaching and sneak in the kind of stuff that the student doesn't necessarily think they're interested in, like key theory and modes and all that sort of stuff. Sneak it in where appropriate, and just, don't make a big deal of it, but just you kind of let it settle in there. But most of all, be driven by what your students' musical tastes are. Next.
Expectation management.
Yes. Now, this is kind of the counterbalance to the last point. You have to be able to manage the expectations of what your students are wanting. Many's the time I've had people come to me and say, I want to be able to play this song. Complete, fresh, raw beginner often. I want to be able to play this song. It sounds easy. And maybe it does. Maybe it's just somebody strumming a few chords. But if there's 2 or 3 of those chords are bar chords, then are you really going to give that to a beginner and set them up to fail and kind of, here's a song that's got like 4 bar chords in it to somebody that really should be looking at how to basically strum an open E chord or a D or something like that and begin with the basics there. So you've got to, I make a bargain usually with the students. I say, okay, right, that one's on the list. We will come to that. We will do that when you are, when you have the sufficient skills. And then I'll say, but we need to kind of get there in gradual steps. And usually you can find if a student has a favourite artist or band, and this is the song that they want to play by that certain artist or band, then you can say, well, let's have a look at the rest of the catalogue. A good case in point, I mentioned Green Day there. The number of people who wanted to play Basket Case, which is full of bar chords. It just is, and power chords and stuff. Not the sort of stuff for a beginner. But if you can get them playing G, C, D and E minor, you can have them playing Time of Your Life pretty soon. So that they feel like they're getting close to, or closer to, or advancing towards what their ultimate goal is. So, expectation management and adaptability, they are, 2 sides of the same coin, and you need both of them. Next.
Always have a plan B.
Yes. Always have a plan B, because the words that you're going to hear from your students, probably more than anything else, at the start of the lesson will be, I'm really sorry, I haven't had a chance to practice much this week. So if you've planned a lesson based on, building on what you expected the student to master in the previous lesson, then suddenly that's all out the window, because you can't give them more stuff to practice on top of the stuff that they still have to catch up with. What you do under those circumstances is just have a little bit of so play me what you can remember of it. Then play me, let's have a progress check. And obviously it's going to be a bit rough in places, but what you do is you can always find one thing that they've done really well, just one chord or one note in a lick or a riff or something like that, and you praise that, you really kind of lay it on with a trowel, really say, that's absolutely, that chord that you played there, absolutely fantastic, couldn't have done it better myself. And then say, now all you got to do is get everything else up to that sort of standard. Shouldn't take long, And by doing that, you're giving them a little bit of motivation, because, truth be told, anyone can find the time to practice. I had a couple of years ago, a student who was a single dad, and he was working like 12, 14-hour shifts. And, as well as doing all the cooking, washing, cleaning, and looking after 2 adolescent kids. And he found time to practice. So if a chap like that can kind of carve out the time in his schedule, anybody can. The reason why many people don't feel like they've got the time to practice is because they lack a little bit of motivation. It's playing guitar, especially for beginners, is more difficult than a lot of people think it's going to be. And it's easy to kind of think, well, am I really getting anywhere? I can't be bothered today. I'll leave it. I'll do it tomorrow. So if you can provide that little bit of motivation that sort of brings people back into, fires them up a little bit more, then that is often what takes care of the practice sort of thing. As I say, just a good bit of praise often does that. But that still leaves you with what to do in the lesson that you had planned and, now you can't do. Well, this is a great opportunity to sneak in a little bit of music theory. Basically, if you can say to the student, okay, so, we've established you need to do a little bit more work on that, raise everything up a little bit to the standard of that one thing that you did really well. So let's have a look at how that song was written. And you present it as, let's get inside the mind of, insert name here, their favourite guitar player. And why does that lick work? What makes that riff sound so good? How was this song written? What was going through their head as they were doing it? And, you can use that as a springboard for all kinds of, background information theory, basically, and the student goes away feeling like they've learned something, and you haven't weighed them down with yet more stuff to practice when they feel like they've still got they still do have stuff to catch up with from the previous lesson. So having a plan B and praise the just the one little thing they do that they've done well works a treat. So there you go, folks. Those are my 5, I would say, most important things that I have figured out or picked up over my 30 years experience as a guitar tutor. If you are an aspiring guitar teacher, I hope you have found this reasonably useful, and maybe it's given you an insight into how to do this as either a second income or as your main income, like I do. If you found the video useful, informative, or even just entertaining in some small way, then please hit the subscription button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. If you're interested in supporting the channel, all the links are down in the description. Thank you to everybody who's doing anything like that, and thank you in advance if you're thinking about doing it. Don't forget the live stream tomorrow, 5 p.m. Friday, 5 p.m. UK time Friday, where we're just going to sit around and have a beer and a chat and talk about whatever crops up. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But till then, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.